I am transgender. But right now, I am showing you as I look right now, with no filters, no makeup, just me, and the effects of years of HRT. While I can feel confident using such tools as makeup, clothing, and styling my hair, there were aspects of myself that I always felt needed more than what hormones and cosmetics could offer. Don't get me wrong, these tools are powerful. They've been my companions in expressing myself and exploring my identity. Makeup in particular has been a creative outlet for me, a way to highlight my features, and a way to present myself in a way that aligns with the person I am on the inside. But even with all these tools at my disposal, there were features that felt inherently masculine to me, features that I couldn't align with my female identity, no matter how skilled I became with makeup or fashion. These features stood out more, especially on days that I chose not to wear makeup. But now, I'm on the brink of a transformation that goes further than skin deep, as I am beginning my facial feminization journey. For me, FFS is not just a cosmetic procedure. It's a key to unlocking the true reflection of my identity. It's about aligning my appearance with who I feel I am on the inside. Today is particularly exciting as I'm about to have my first CT scan for my surgery. This scan is crucial as it'll help my surgical team plan for the operation and make sure they don't do things like hit nerves or cut too deep, and also be able to properly plan around my facial structure and my facial features to be able to feminize them. I'll be documenting each step of this process so that you all can experience it like I am. This isn't just my journey, it is a path that has been walked by many in the transgender community, and that I hope that by sharing my experience, I can provide insight, hope, and inspiration to those who also wish to follow the same path. So come along with me on this transformative journey. Well, I'm back. Unfortunately, I ran into a bit of a hiccup. People at the imaging clinic decided that I couldn't get a CT scan because I needed a doctor's referral, and I'm traveling to Argentina, and they were like, no. So I'm going to have to find another clinic, but I do believe I found one that's willing to accept a letter from Torres, my doctor in Corbeta, Argentina. So I'm going to go ahead and send them that letter, and then hopefully I can get a CT scan. In the meantime, I'm going to talk a little bit about CT scans for you. At its core, CT imaging uses X-rays passing through the body along a plane, typically the axial plane, that goes up and down through the body. It takes snapshots in particular intervals, creating essentially slices through the body. We can set these intervals in ways that allow you to create overlap to create a high-resolution, three-dimensional representation of the part you're trying to scan. Modern CT imaging machines, you can also take the raw scans through a particular plane and create reformatted sectional planes, such as the sagittal and the coronal planes, that allow for better resolution, and this allows for better 3D imaging of the part that is being scanned. As these files are stored in essentially image files called DICOM files that can then be sent to a health professional to be able to view, analyze, and reconstruct them into three-dimensional images. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get my CT scan now that I have found a clinic that is able to do it with the recommendation letter that my doctor has provided. And so here I'm loading in the axial, coronal, and sagittal planes, and we're just kind of moving through them so we can see the reformatted planes here. I can load all of these planes into a three-dimensional image. So I'm thresholding the bones, and we can see here the constructed 3D image using the axial and now coronal and sagittal planes to create a higher resolution 3D image. And I can now push this outwards so that we can threshold amongst the skin layer, and we can see a really nice detailed version of my face here. And if I threshold this inwards, we can see the bones. So all we're seeing here is the white, which is what it's rendering. And we can see my sinus here, my upper sinus, and that's a very large sinus. In all the CT images I've seen, sinuses usually aren't that big. So I am curious to hear how my doctor is going to work with that. My mandible here, as you can see, is nice and strong, so it is going to need some aggressive removal of bone here. So yeah, I'm excited to see what my doctor has to say about this. So I have a scheduled call with my doctor, and let's go ahead and see what he says needs to be done in order to feminize my face.
Hi, Flounder. How are you?
Hi, doing good. How are you doing?
Great. Nice to see you again. I have seen your CT scan. In your case, you have what is called a macrosinus. What is that? It's not the protruding area, but it's the size of the area that you have the sinus. The smaller the sinus it is easier to reduce it and to make a type 3 forehead surgery. In your case, as your forehead is, the sinus is too long, I mean, it's too big, it's up to here more or less, probably like mine, we have to do a type 3 surgery, but probably we will need more plates, probably we will need to cut in the middle the bone structure to make it, to reduce it a little bit more.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you about, because I did notice. I'm going to share my screen. So here I just loaded in the different views of the axial and sagittal and coronal views and everything.
Yes, if you can move the one you look at the profile, there you see.
Yeah, I can see just how large, yeah.
Yes, it's too large.
Yeah, so I did notice that I had this like little hump here that was being caused by that very large sinus. So you're saying this would be like cut in half somewhere like here, I assume?
Probably yes, what we are planning to do. Maybe we can change that in the surgery. You can see there on both sides, in the upper part of the orbits, you can see the nerves, yes, that's where the nerves goes outside the frontal bone. So we have to respect those nerves.
Yeah, because that's one of my questions too, is the supraorbital nerves that are kind of in this area, and how they have to be protected.
We have to cut the lower part of the bone so we can liberate that small piece of bone. We have to cut it, and then the nerves goes with the soft tissue, and then we can work specifically in the bone part without any risk.
And then in terms of the orbits themselves, I assume is this here was what being reduced right in this region?
Yes, which is this part. And when we release the soft tissues of the orbital rim, so we can make the brow lift, which is very important in your case too.
So then the brows come a little bit above where the orbits sit. Yeah, I'm curious about the mandible cuts. It's my understanding that usually in a sliding genioplasty, a cut is made along the bottom and then pieces removed from the center. Is that correct?
Well, in your particular case, we have to divide the jaw surgery with the chin surgery. In the jaw surgery, there is not, what we are going to do is to shave all the jaw all around.
Right.
And that will reduce the size of the width of the bone, okay? But in the chin, the problem is another thing. In the chin, you have a square chin, a very strong chin, but the problem is that it is retruded, okay, and it's too high, okay. So we have to make a horizontal cut in the lower part of the where the nerve goes outside the bone. There.
Yeah, the mandible or the mental nerves. Yeah.
We have to make a horizontal cut, and we will remove a piece of bone from there to make an impactation of the lower part of the chin to protrude it to the front like 3 or 4 millimeters, okay, and reduce the height. But we are going to remove a piece of bone in the middle to make like a V shape. It's like a V shape surgery, okay? We have to make 3 osteotomies. The one which is horizontal one, and the one we remove a piece of bone in the middle, we put both sides together in the middle, and then we shave all around the jaw part.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. I was kind of playing around with that idea. I probably did it terribly, but
there.
Yeah, something like this was, yeah.
Yes, it's not so curved. It has to be, yes, like this, exactly like this. But we have to shave on both sides the part of the jaw which remains on both sides.
Right. So this would be reduced right here, yeah.
But the only difference is that we have to project a little bit more the chin to the front and to reduce the height a little bit.
And then in terms of, I want to switch to this program really quick. I did a thresholding on this model to kind of look at the nerves inside of the jaw here, because we do have the inferior alveolar nerves and arteries within the bone itself. I assume with the CT scan you can measure from the different views how much material you can take off without interacting with those nerves that come out to the mental nerves here and everything.
Yes, I mean here on the lateral parts it's not risky because the same result can be achieved shaving than cutting the bone. So it's the same, but it's safer to do shaving rather than cutting the bone. In the chin, there are some procedures that cannot be only with shaving. You have to cut bone. Well, I think that you will have an amazing result, and we can perform an aggressive work, and you will be very happy.
Yep, I'm excited, needless to say, to be able to finally get it done and kind of fly in and have it all documented. I'm really nerdy about these kind of things. I mean I'm an engineer. I do computer engineering, but I work in the healthcare space. So.
I can see right now what you.
So yeah, I'm nerdy. So it's cool being able to dive into this and get super technical and get some details out, because it's fascinating to me. I really appreciate you taking the time to go over all of this with me, for sure.
No, that's okay. That's great, and it's better that we clarify all your questions and the doubts, because it's the way. I mean, for you to be sure to come here.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, nice to see you again. I hope to see you soon.
Yep, I'll see you soon in Argentina.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye. So that was exactly what I wanted to hear, was the type 3 forehead reconstruction to reduce my prominent brow. It sounds like it's going to be a little bit of work, as it will have to be split in half, but I'm fine with that. And of course, the V-line jaw surgery. So we're getting nice, aggressive bone work done, hard bone work done, which is exactly what I need in order to feminize my face. We are going to do some really cool things with the CT scan that I have, and you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be super cool. I won't give it away, but here's a sneak peek on what I'm working on. I'm traveling to Argentina in about 2 weeks, so I've got a lot of work to do, a lot of preparing to do, and I'm excited to be able to fly across the world and finally get my FFS done. So make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. I can't believe I gave ChatGPT my story and then asked it to write an intro, and it gave me the sappiest possible intro. I loved it, so I just fucking used it.